Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Sophie. I have a doctorate in literature, so I'm not a medical doctor. I cannot diagnose your illnesses, but I can cry over really good storytelling, and that tends to be what happens a lot on this channel. Today, we're reacting to episode 10 of season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Last episode, we learned that there is a cursed technique that can modify humans and their bodies so they're not cursed spirits, but they can use cursed energy and kind of take the form, but they still remain human. We saw the young teenager in the cinema that was getting bullied and picked on go after the manifestation of humans' hatred for one another because he wants to know about his abilities. And I think we're going to see him be transformed, or at least he's already been potentially transformed, which is kind of my worry, because if they're able to modify bodies, he's sent Itadori on what he thinks is a simple mission, but what if it's not? Because what if he's already been transformed? If he's already been transformed, Itadori is about to have an interesting showdown. Because again, Nanami came to the conclusion that he's not a cursed energy user, that he's not a jujutsu sorcerer or the evil variation of it, but he could have been modified, if that's the right word to use. It's probably not, but altered by a curse technique. So Itadori might not actually be on a safe mission. Naname couldn't have known that. It just kind of clicked in my head then of, oh shit, hold up. This seems like it could be too simple, too good to be true. That's going to be very interesting because I've already said I feel like they're setting them up to be rivals. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 10.
超絶絶叫計画って5があんの？
7まであるよ。
あれの7とかかなり来てそう。
It is like
7まで来
Itadori.
ると全くの別物だね。
Itadori's paranormal club, but this is a movie club instead.
1の主人公の孫と2の犯人の孫と3で最初に死ぬやつの孫とかがひょんなことからシェアハウスに住むことになったんだけど、そこが幽霊屋敷で霊媒師を呼ぶんだけどって話。
うわ、つまんなそう。
死ぬほどつまんないよ。でも面白いのがさ、5と6で出てきた。
あれ？なんでいんの？ここ俺らの物質にするから使う
But
なって言
unlike
ったよな。
Itadori, he doesn't even have this
最近
safe
使われてな
space,
かった
this
から
club.
もういいのかなって思って。
で、
What the
だからそ
fuck?
の
いいからさっさと出ていけよ、ゴキブリども。
行こうぜ、吉野。
Yoshino.
何？
持って帰るから。
あ？
橋溶けて。
All that hatred and anger manifests into curse energy. But this, I imagine, is before
足溶けてくれる。
the events that we've seen. This has just given us more perspective. Jesus Christ.
やべえよ。
ドア閉めろ。
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's after. No, it's before. Like, I feel so sorry for him because being bullied sucks. It's honestly one of the worst things anyone can experience.
好きの反対は無関心なんて初めに言った人はちゃんと地獄に落ちたでしょうか。悪意を持って人と関わることが関わらないより正しいなんてありえない。好きの反対は嫌いです。日本人って好きですよね。
それ考えたの日本人じゃないよ。
僕が言ってるのは語尾の方です。もともとどこかの外国の人が言ったのは愛の反対は無関心ですよね。愛ってのはいろんな定義があるから大義に無関心が成り立つと思うんです。でも愛って普段使わないじゃないですか。だからそれがこの国ではいつの間にか好きに変換されて
Interesting.
無関心の大義が成り立つかどうかなんて 誰も考えずに広まったっていうか。
みんな言葉遊びが好きなのさ。なぜなら人間は言い訳をしないと生きていけないからね。
What, to justify their hatred for each other? I guess.
一人の人間をどこまで大きくできるかの実験。
Oh, that's fucked.
逆にそっちはどこまで小さくできるのか試してみた。
これが人間。
Yep.
順平は死体に慣れてるの？
どうでしょう。それが僕の母だったら取り乱し真人さんを憎んでいたかもしれません。でも僕は人間の醜悪さを知っています。だから他人に何も期待していないし、他人の死に何も思うところはありませんし。
They're already setting up how they're opposites. Itadori, who didn't know those people, he felt the weight of their deaths. He was able to feel empathy for them and care for them because the way that they died was horrific. But he also acknowledges that they were people and they didn't deserve that. Whereas we now have Yoshino, who is openly saying that he doesn't care because he knows how repulsive people can be, and that the only way that he would have cared is if it was his mum. But because he doesn't know these people, he knows how repulsive humans can be, he's not going to feel bad or sorry for those that have been turned into these monstrous forms, you know, and saying, oh, I don't think much of it when someone I don't know dies, whereas Itadori doesn't feel that way. Itadori is completely different. So yeah, it very much is similar students going down different paths. We have Itadori that was part of the paranormal club, but he wasn't being bullied. They were kind of left alone to their own devices, and he established a strong core group of friends that he wanted to protect at all costs, which threw him into the position of consuming Schooner's finger and becoming the vessel for Schooner, and subsequently set him on this path. And then you have Yoshino, who was part of a movie club, but the room they were using was one that was commandeered by the bullies that basically told them they weren't allowed to meet there, even though the room wasn't being used, and used it as an opportunity to kind of beat and berate and put Yoshino down. And then we also have him being picked on and bullied because he was supposedly looking at this girl's breasts, which she was just being an absolute pick-me at that point, and they beat him up for it. And then when he spoke up, they beat him even further. So this constant resentment and bitterness and this feeling of being disempowered has culminated in him pursuing the human embodiment of humanity's hatred to each other after witnessing what he did to his bullies, because he marvels it. He wants to have that power, that ability to get rid of those that berate him or put him down. He wants to feel powerful. It's quite a classic scenario where the bullied becomes a bully, because it's a way of reclaiming power, of reclaiming what was taken from you by exerting pain and suffering onto those that you feel deserve it. But it's quite interesting that he's talking about like Japanese cultural differences, that the original translation was the opposite of love is indifference, but because love isn't often used in Japan, it becomes fondness, but it kind of lacks the same original meaning. That was an interesting deep dive into the wordplay. So I did just have to look up the statement because I was like, that sounds so familiar. Like, where have I heard that before? It's because it's a statement coined by a famous author called Eli Wiesel, who was a Holocaust survivor. I actually read his book Night, which is his testimony to his and his father's experience. A very beautiful book, very profound. The statement isn't mentioned in the book, but it is very much a core theme that indifference is worse than love and hate. Because love and hate are intense emotions, we are still feeling something. But essentially, the quote doesn't put hate as the opposite of love, because hate and love are both intense emotional feelings, which means we are still feeling something towards the situation that we are faced with, whether it be one of love and respect, or whether it be hatred and animosity. There is still emotions there. Whereas when you're indifferent, you're apathetic. You are detached from it. You're detached to the suffering. And in doing so, it's as good as ignoring the victim. Whereas the difference is that hatred is still an active emotion. It's a passionate emotion, much in the same way that love is. Whereas indifference is a complete removal of feeling, a complete detachment. And if anything, I feel like apathy is sometimes even worse, because at least if you feel hatred, you feel something, whereas apathy is just ignoring what is happening in the world, or ignoring suffering, or ignoring those that might need help and support because you shrug it off as not being your problem. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with Yoshino. But what's interesting is that Yoshino is essentially saying that rather than striving for love or even hatred, we should strive for indifference, that we should detach ourselves emotionally, because we can't expect any good from people in our lives. So why should we care? Essentially, it's quite nihilistic. It's a very detached perspective, and I can understand where he's coming from based on what he's gone through. He's been severely bullied, treated like he's invisible. So that indifference towards others is almost like a defense mechanism. He doesn't want to care about people because he's scared to. He's scared to be hurt. So it's easier to be indifferent to others. It's easier to pretend not to care about people than it is to actually feel love and even hatred. But at the same time, I think, again, it's that reference to the difference in culture. That when he talks about how love isn't a word that they commonly use, and therefore it was changed to fondness. But even still, it kind of removes the intensity of the emotion in changing it to fondness, hence the reference to wordplay. But it does seem like Yoshino's reference to him saying, you know, I don't care if someone I don't know dies, very much seems like that is the philosophy that Yoshino is trying to embody, which is indifference. It's to feel nothing for humanity in general, because humanity have never done anything good for him. So why will he in turn care about what happens to humanity? Which kind of leaves him really vulnerable here, because again, he's now surrounded by people, well, not people, but embodiments of curses. But we have Geto wanting to aid in this war, where Jogo and the others want to reverse the situation, that they are on top and humans are at the bottom. So now Yoshino is kind of really susceptible to believing that ideology too, because of this whole attempt to pretend that he doesn't give a shit. I think deep down he probably does care, but he's scared to admit that he cares because of how severely he's been bullied, and doesn't want to leave himself vulnerable, because to open yourself to your emotions, whether it be love or hatred, is to be vulnerable. It is to be passionate and to care about something. What he's trying to promote and rationalize is apathy, a state of uncaring, a state of washing his hands with those that he doesn't have a relationship with. Because again, he does distinguish between not caring about someone he doesn't know dying versus his mother, because he obviously loves his mother. He feels that emotion still. But yeah, he is definitely heading down an interesting path. But that also makes me think that he potentially has been transformed, or is in the process of being transformed.
無関心こそ人間の行き着く
Literally what I just said. Yeah, it struck me as he very much wants to be emotionally detached.
順平は人に心があると思う？
ないんですか？
ないよ。魂はある。でもそれは心じゃない。
じゃあ僕のこの
俺はこの世界で唯一魂の構造を理解してる。それに触れることで生物の形を変えているからね。喜怒哀楽はすべて魂の代謝によるものだ。心と呼ぶ
Is he
にはあまり
basically
に
saying
機械
that
的
the
だ。
heart is
人は目に見えないも
Pointless
のを特別に考えすぎる。
in
見える俺に
comparison
と
to
って
the soul.
魂は肉体と同じで何も特別じゃない。ただそこにあるだけだ。命に価値や重さなんてないんだよ。天地にとっての水のように命もただ巡るだけだ。
On and on it repeats.
無意味で無価値。
Oh, he's gonna buy into this.
どう生きようと自由なんだ。無関心という理想にとらわれてはいけないよ。生き様に一貫性なんて必要ない。お腹が減ったら食べるように、憎いなら殺せばいい。
He's basically saying there's
俺
no
は順平の
consequence.
すべてを肯定するよ。
He's just like, that's the cycle of life, so why put a philosophy to it? But him saying, I'll sanction it for you, is because he's going to transform him. He's going to give him that ability. Oh, he already has.
いました。
Oh no! And Itadori's following him.
しばらく行っていないみたいですね。
それは俺もそうだけどさ。あいつら元気でやってる？
元気にやっているみたいですよ。
Oh, panda.
それを使います。
ん？それ呪霊？
妖刀4級にも満たない低級の呪いです。
Oh, he's doing his best, okay?
1、呪いを視認できない一般人の場合。虎杖君が救助してください。2、視認できるが対処する術を持たない場合。
Please save him.
同様に虎杖君が救助
Likewise.
事件当日の聴取をします。
But what if he can?
妖刀を払った場合。
Then fight him to the death. Oh, okay, restrain him.
力ずくです。5人ならそれでいい。後で謝りましょう。4、2級術師以上のポテンシャルが吉野純平にあった場合、一度引いて七海さんと合流します。
2級ならギリなんとかなると思うけどな。
呪霊ならね。
え？
通常呪霊と同等級の術師が任務に当たると、つまり2級術師は2級呪霊に勝つのが当たり前。2級術師は1級呪霊に近い実力というわけです。
Right, okay.
なんで俺はそういう大事な情報知らないの？
We're only being told now, so I mean...
出てくるならさっさとしてください。
He's like, I have no patience.
異形手遅れとはいえ、人を殺めるのは気分が悪い。
いやー、
Oh!
よかったよかった。五条悟が来ても困るけど、あんまり弱いと実験にならないからさ。
I love that they're all scared of Gojo. It's
残
great.
業は嫌いなので手早く済ませましょう。
Please be okay. We only just got you in this series. I can't lose you the next episode. I will be fuming. But yeah, they're like, if you were Gojo, I'd be fucked.
ぶっ殺そう
似ている。
I love
絵に描い
Gojo.
たような軽薄、その奥にあるどす黒い強さ。
Similar as in similar attitude, or is this foreshadowing that there's a deeper connection between them? My
俺ちゃんと
hand.
見てたよね、重力で。そういう術式？
そういうとは、他人任せな抽象的な質問は嫌いです。
Just be straight to the point.
おしゃべりが嫌いなわけじゃないんだ。
相手によります。ここまで会話が成り立つ呪霊、五条さんの報告にあった未登録の特級呪霊2体。
I imagine there's more unregistered than they know.
魂と肉体、どっちが先だと思う？
Probably the soul?
卵が先か鶏が先かみたいな話。
But can the soul come first if there's no
肉体
body?
に魂が宿るのかな？それとも魂に体が肉付けされているのかな？
I don't know.
前者。
ぶっぶー。答えは後者。
Okay.
いつだって魂は肉体の先にある。肉
I
体の
was
形
right.
は
I don't know if I was right. I was just guessing.
治癒じゃない。己の魂の形を強く保っているんだ。もう分かったでしょ？俺の術式は。
Oh, what the
魂に
fuck?
触れその形を変える。
Ah!
無為天変。人間をストックしてるんだ。結構難しいんだよ。一般人は形変えちゃうとそのうち死んじゃうけど、呪術師はどうかな？
He's like dried them out like jerky, you know, like the little things, like the toys that were tiny and then you put them in water and then they expand. That's kind of what that is. It's so weird. Ugh.
よしな、どこ行ってたんだ。ダメじゃないか。学校サボって。
外村先生。
He just stood by and watched him getting bullied.
さやば西村ほんだ。亡くなったって。
I wonder if he's gonna exert revenge. No, they were not. What the fuck? What do you mean, friends?
友達もいないお前をよく構ってやってたろ。
Kicking the shit out of him.
仲良し僕があいつらと正気じゃない教師って
Don't
学校
understand.
卒業して学校を務めるからおよそ社会と呼べるものを経験してないですよね。だからあんたみたいなでかい子供が出来上がるんで
He
しょうね。
saw them kicking the shit out of him and he didn't do anything.
こいつも
俺は順平のすべてを肯定する。
引きこもっておかしくなったかなんて。
Oh shit. Oh shit.
あ、こいつ見えてるな。
Yep.
知らん。
行きますよ、イタドリ君。
タマ、誰かいる。やべ。よかった。
なんだ
He just saved that guy's life. Like, damn.
なあ、ちょっと聞きたいことあっからさ、すらかして。なあ。
このボタン
待て、今俺が話してるだろ。失礼だな。
ああ、いや、かなり大事なようでして。
大事なよう？子供が何言ってるんだ。
None of your business.
何すんだ子供たち。やめなさい。持ってかないで。
Itadori.
何だったんだ。
You know
そ
what?
んじゃ行こうぜ。
Maybe
早っもう一周してきたの
Itadori
お
is how
わ
Yoshino
ざわざ
can
あんなことし
change.
なくても僕だけ引っ張っていけばよかったんじゃ。
I don't know. Maybe.
でもお前、あいつ嫌いだろ？
なんで？
なんとなく。
Wasn't indifference, it was hatred.
嫌いなやつに
Which is an
いつまでも
emotion.
目の前いてほしくねえだろ。とりあえず、あっち行こうぜ。
I think his natural ability to treat people like friends and to want to help others might get through to Yoshino. Oh, damn, okay. Oh,
よく動くね。
oh, he's stretchy. Oh my goodness.
形を変えるのに元の人間の質量は関係ないのか。どちらにしろ私の術式とは相性が悪い。
Oh, that's foul.
一度改造された人間はまず助からん。襲われたら迷わず殺せ。それが被害者のためでもある。
いっぱい練習したからさ、大きさ変えてもすぐ死ぬことはないけど、脳意識の方はまだ精度悪くてさ、そうやって魂の汗がにじみ出ることがあるんだ。気にせず続けよう。
気にしてなんかいません。
Oh.
仕事に市場は持ち込まない主義なので。
嘘が下手。魂が揺らいでいるよ。
I was gonna say that's not the truth because he wiped the tears away.
強いわけだ。実験体としてはベスト。
He's not going to be a test subject.
感謝するよ。
Oh,
自分の魂の形だって変えられるんだよ。呪術師は呪力で体を守ることはできても、魂を守ることはしてきてない。第一に己の魂を知覚する。これができなきゃそれは叶わない。でも多少は無意識に魂を呪力で覆っているようだね。
I was so scared
そう
for
でな
him.
きゃあんたは今頃俺の手駒さ。まああと2、3回触れて人間やめさせてあげる。
No, no, no. Oh, it's like a really intense game of tag. I'm so scared. Like, please don't transform him.
こんなもんか、一級術師。よく逃げ回ったけど、いろいろと限界でしょ。
残念ですが、
He's clocked off for the day. It's the end of his shift.
重力が増えていく。
ここからは時間外労働です。
You've made him go into overtime. How dare you? Gonna make you suffer because of it.
シグラ私の学ラン知らない？
いや知らん。
ここに置いておいたんだけど。あ、パンダ先輩、私の学ラン知らない？
見てないな。
You sure about that, Panda?
どこ行っちゃったのかなおい、スカートもねえんだぞ。それは超えちゃいけねえ一線だろ。
高菜
She's like, stop stealing my uniform.
これマキさんのだ。
こんばんは。釘崎野原でーす。
It's not even my skirt. Fucking Gojo. I love Gojo. Honestly, this show is phenomenal. At first, I thought perhaps Yoshino might sort of become an antagonist, but I don't know. Just seeing the way that he was looking at Itadori when Itadori pulled his teacher's pants down and then came back and was like, oh, you hate him? Well, you don't want someone you hate standing outside your house. Shows that Itadori is really good at reading people, really good at reading their emotions, and even people he doesn't know, he cares about them. He cares about their well-being and wants to help them. So I don't know if maybe that will end up rubbing off on Yoshino. If Yoshino can kind of turn around his perspective from speaking, or at least getting to know Itadori. I don't know if it's going to happen overnight, because the bullying he's gone through is really intense, and it makes complete and utter sense to me that he would go down this path and feel this need for revenge and the frustration of wanting to have power when you've been made to feel so powerless. I get it. But I feel like he potentially has potential to maybe go down this dark path but be redeemed, like brought back because of Itadori. I feel as if it's either going to be that he doesn't go down the path because Itadori changes his perspective, or he does go down that path but Itadori is able to bring him back. I don't think it's going to be the former. I think it's the latter, that Itadori will bring him back onto the right path eventually, that Yoshino can redeem himself with all the negative emotions he feels, and then also being granted this ability and being sanctioned to take a life if he feels like it, because that's just the cycle of life in itself, and he shouldn't be penalized or punished because of it. It's opened up a new perspective of the world, a new path that he never previously had, and I think that power might kind of get to his head a little bit, and we might see him not able to fully break away from the hold it has on him. But he's also showing that indifference isn't something that can actively be practiced, because even in that moment with his teacher and his teacher making reference to them being friends, he feels hatred. And again, hatred is an intense emotion. He can't even be indifferent towards his teacher. He hates this man that's lecturing him on not going to the funeral of the very people that made his life a living hell, who seems to think that they were friends, even though he saw the bullies kicking the shit out of him. I love Nanami basically saying that he doesn't bring his emotions into work, but he still stops to wipe the tears off of this victim that he knows he can't save, because there's no turning them back once they have been transformed. And whilst he's not breaking down over it, he's still exhibiting care, which, you know, initially looks like indifference, initially looks like he doesn't give a shit when he's saying he doesn't bring his emotions into work, especially when we've had that whole conversation about the opposite of love is indifference. But the actions themselves show that he's not indifferent. He understands the suffering and is witness to it and is trying to comfort them, knowing what they're going through. And he's even kind of called out on it that his soul is quivering because of the emotions. He's just not letting it show because he doesn't want to give this guy any advantage over him. I keep forgetting his name. His name's come up a few times now, but his name eludes me. There was a lot of conversation around the soul and the soul shaping the body around it, and that he's not healing himself. It's just his body reshaping around his soul or something along those lines. It was a tad hard to follow because sometimes the subtitles go really, really fast, and most of the time I'm fighting for my life trying to keep up with what they're saying. So sometimes I don't have chance to kind of take in what's going on. We have Naname clocking into overtime, and he's not happy about it because his shift is ended. And we had mention of the soul and the importance of the soul. And in this question of what came first, the body or the soul came first. The soul is this important aspect. And I think the reason he sees the soul as an important aspect is because it's the essence of what makes you a person, but also it's what allows him to shape the body, because again, he talks about the body shapes around the soul. So if he can manipulate the soul, he can manipulate the body and turn the human into whatever he wants, which is why he says the heart is useless, because it's not the heart that allows him to experiment on these people. I think that's why he puts so much stock in the soul. But then again, in a lot of religions or even just spirituality in general, the soul is this important aspect in that it's the essence of what makes us us, and that without it, we would be a husk. But it also makes sense as to why the transformed humans still have some element of consciousness, because if you subscribe to a philosophical idea of the soul, then you believe that the soul is the source of our conscious being, that it's because of our soul that we're aware of the world and can perceive it. The fact that even when he transforms the body, he can't transform the soul. There's still an element of that human consciousness, which is what they're retaining, which is what he's not able to erase. Because he's saying that the brain isn't something that he's been able to alter, but that's because technically the consciousness, the part that is thinking, feeling, is part of the soul, which remains within these mutated humans, which is why we have this human mutation begging to be helped because it's aware of its situation, similar to the others that we've seen that are latching on to words that they know from being humans because it's all they can do to communicate. Because he's saying that their brain's awareness, he still lacks precision with that. I think because he doesn't realize that conscious element, that awareness, is part of the soul itself. That remains unchanged. That remains within these human experiments that he's creating. Because again, it's not the soul that he's changing. It's manipulating the soul so that the body forms around it to make these monstrous beings. At least that's how I perceived it. I could be wrong, but again, Don't tell me. Don't explain it to me. The show will correct me. We will learn as we go. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!